So if I had to give a title to our conversation today, it would be, who's the boss here? Have you ever felt like you're not sure who or what is actually running the show in your life? Whether you're working for somebody else or working for yourself, that question has definitely come up. Who is the boss here? Maybe at home, you're not sure whether you're actually training your kids or they're training you. Or maybe you just feel like you're on the losing side of a never-ending negotiation. For those of us with children, you know what I'm talking about. The struggle is real. Do you feel like also that maybe you're answering to everybody else except for yourself? I feel you on that. So today I'm going to share 3 things that are probably working against your boss status and the 3 life hacks that can help you overcome. They've helped me. I'm hoping to help you as well. So we're going to talk about being the boss at work, being the mom at home, and ultimately being the best steward over yourself. So first, boss mode on the job. When it comes to being the boss at work, there is one thing over the years that I have learned that has had a huge impact, probably more than anything else. And when I tell you this, you might be like, duh, that's a no-brainer. But let me tell you why I'm saying this first. Because as moms and as bosses, we get tired. Does anybody want to take a nap? I do. We get run down. And sometimes the push to go forward isn't enough to drive us because the opposition feels so great. We end up going down the path of least resistance and we sell ourselves short. So hear me as a sister. You've got more strength in you. You've got more patience in you. You have more wisdom. You have more grace. You have more endurance. So don't believe the lie that the fight is not worth the prize. Okay, so we're good on that. Here's the one thing that I want you to remember for today. You set the tone. You don't have to be a victim to the tyranny of the day, as my husband would say. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy going on, but it doesn't have to become your crazy. If there's something that you don't like that's not working for you and it's your business, it's probably something in your power to fix. So don't throw your hands up and definitely don't settle. If this is your vision, if this is your calling, then do it because it is bigger than you and it matters. So let's not rob the world of you at your best. All right, sis? We need you and we need you to do your thing. So what do I use as my anchor in my businesses? 3 simple things. 1, lead from your purpose. 2, be super intentional about culture. And 3, focus on impact. When you're strong in these areas, it will attract people to you that are with you for more than a paycheck. Can I get an amen? And then their investment in your business and your investment in them as individuals will not just be transactional. And when you need to push a little or even correct someone, you can do it on the basis of purpose, culture, and impact, and not on personal, minor, nitpicky things. All right? So let me tell you a little story to make this real. And I'll, of course, leave all the names out to protect the innocent and the guilty. So I had a situation in one of my businesses where I just really wasn't seeing eye to eye to a person who was super, super important to me getting a particular task done. Now, I've known this person for a while. I really respected them. In fact, that's why we were even doing business together in the first place. But we came to a point where it seemed like we were just always butting heads and we weren't getting the thing done that we both really wanted to do. And after some failed attempts at, my way and their way and my way, we finally sat down and had a conversation. And I came back to my 3 important things. We had a conversation about purpose. I said, hey, let's just kind of stop and talk through, why do you think we're doing this? I know why I'm doing it. I believe I know why you're doing it, but let's actually talk about that. And so we had that conversation and they shared what they thought the purpose was. I shared what I knew the purpose to be. And amazingly, we were quite aligned. That's a good thing. We then took it to the place of culture, right? Because our way of interacting with each other had gotten a little strained. And so we took it back to some of the cultural elements that I really like to have in my businesses. I like to have respect. I like to have honor. I like to have trust, transparency, and authenticity. And so in that, we were able to realize that we all held those same values together, but there were some where I wasn't feeling as respected as I wanted to, and they weren't really feeling the ability to be as empowered and authentic as they wanted to. And so it highlighted something we needed to work on. And then the third thing was impact, right? What is it that we're really trying to accomplish when we do this successfully together? What is the end result? And is the way that we're doing it the way that's going to get the greatest impact? And we realized there were some opportunities there as well. I had a piece of the answer, they had a piece of the answer, and we both wanted to make an impact in the world. And so once we were able to bring it back to that, it really didn't become about their way or my way or who's right or who's wrong. And I wasn't talking about their attitude and they weren't talking about my attitude. We were actually able to focus on the thing that brought us together in business, and we were absolutely successful at the end. And so again, there are going to be some rough days on the job. And when you're in boss mode, it can be really easy to be like, do it because I told you to. But it's going to go a whole lot better if you're able to bring people together and anchor and true back to what's the purpose, what's our culture, and what's the impact that we're trying to make. All right, we good on that? Okay, now when the work day is over, it's time to go to mom mode, and we're back in the house. So let's talk about it a little bit. Okay, so I called this the mom boss circle because we are moms first. Long after the job is done, your family is going to be there. And as driven as we are, we cannot drive our families away in the pursuit of a business goal. So, you don't need permission, but here's my permission. Feel free and be empowered to be a mom first. And if you're married, actually be a wife first. When you put the big rocks of your life in first, everything else fits in its place and more fits in the jar. So think about this. If you have a jar you're trying to fill and you put in sand and pebbles and rocks, you're not going to get as much in. When you put in rocks, then pebbles, then sand, it all works out. If you're working in an unhealthy way, and by that I mean your priorities are all out of whack, it's probably costing you and your family like way too much. You may end up having success, but you may also cost yourself the legacy that you really want to have. So what do I mean? My daughter at one point says, "I hate your computer. I want to throw it away." Why would she say that? Because I was showing her that the way that I was working and how consumed I was on the job is something that she wanted no parts of. You want to live in a way where you're showing your children that work can be empowering and fulfilling. So here's some of the things that I ended up doing. I am a mom boss, which means that sometimes I have to work at home. But it doesn't mean that I have to work in a way that doesn't work for my family. So here's what I would do with my daughter. I said, "Mommy has a meeting. I gotta take a phone call. But in 15 minutes, I'm gonna give you my undivided attention." I would actually set a timer for 15 minutes. And I would stay true to that. When that timer went off, I would step away from everything. I would put my computer up on top of the refrigerator and my cell phone across the room. And I would be so present with her. At that point, she knew that mommy loved me more than she loved her meeting, that mommy prioritized me more than she did her business, that mommy would keep her word, that when she said she would spend time with me and give me her undivided attention, that she actually would do it. And in all these things, I became a mom that she could trust, a mom that she could respect, and a mom that when she got older, she might actually want to be like. So don't feel bad about not being able to give hours and hours and hours of time to your children. The fact of the matter is they really might not need as much undivided attention as they claim they do, because after all, we're trying to raise them to be self-sufficient humans, right? But they do need their mom, and you do need them. So take the time and be faithful and committed to what you say you're going to do whether it's 5 minutes of undivided attention or 30 minutes of undivided attention. Do what you can and don't beat yourself up about the rest. The other advice I would give, in addition to not trying to half do it, is always get excited when your kids come in the room. I mean, even when you're on the Zoom meeting and they just are popping their head in to try to be cute, be excited that they are there. They need to know that they are important, that they are valuable, more than a device and more than a meeting. So don't try to half do it, because that never works, but always make sure that they feel loved. When my mom life was an absolute struggle fest, I felt like a failure. I was working way long and very hard, and I felt like I was letting everyone down in the process. I was struggling to keep my commitment, and I felt like I was always making trade-offs, and they ended up being the wrong trade-offs. So as opposed to feeling like I had to make trade-offs, I decided that I was going to make prioritized decisions and stick to it based on what was important to me in my life. Number 3, being the best steward of yourself, okay? Now listen, you have got to be the boss of your time. Time is the most precious commodity that you have, and there are no do-overs and there are no refills. As much as you may think that you don't have a choice over certain matters, you always have a choice. And one of the biggest and most important choices is how you spend your time. Okay, you will not be a boss or a mom that is worth much or making much impact if you are wasting away your time and you're living out of frustration. So here's my life hack on this. Think of time as money that you have to spend. You can invest it or you can save it. There are 168 hours in a week. There are 10,080 minutes in 1 week. That is your budget of time. You can use it in a way that creates value, or you can use it in a way that feels like a big waste of time. So just like with money, if you don't stick to a budget, you're gonna run out. You're gonna fall short and run a deficit. But when you're intentional, you'll always have enough. You'll be able to spend it in a way that gives a return on your investment, and you'll even have a little extra over to have fun with, okay? So I'm gonna be super excited when I get all of your messages about how you are able to be a better mom boss. I'll see you on the flip side.